to experience being gringoed maybe for the first time, and it's going to happen to you. It's inevitable. It's even happened to me. In this video, I'm going to give you a short guide. It's going to be 3 steps to avoid getting gringo. So I've learned them through the experiences of being gringos when I thought I was too smart, like some of you guys might think. And also, I'm going to reveal why I'm still wearing this Mexico shirt a little bit later. So the first step to not getting gringoed, and you might not want to hear it, but is learning Spanish. Okay, I'm still not fluent in Spanish, even though I've been out of the United States since 2020. I'm in the house most of the time working on content, working on my businesses and everything like that. So I really haven't started really zoning in and practicing. And you're going to experience that most people are trying to practice their English. So if you're not surrounding yourself with like native Spanish speakers that only speak Spanish and no English, is kind of difficult. But you're going to have to force yourself, because the more Spanish you learn, because I know a decent amount now, the more Spanish you learn, the least likely it is that you will be able to get gringoed. And when I say that, you'll be able to communicate with them better on pricing. You'll be able to ask others how much they're paying, ask locals how much they're paying, and all of that extra stuff, which brings us to the second one. But only my subscribers will be able to avoid fully getting gringoed, because I'm going to send you guys my contact list of contacts that I made since I've been over here and everything like that. Okay. But number 2 is kind of what I just said in number 1, making connections. You want to make connections. A lot of people get to countries like this. I experienced this when I was in Mexico as well. We get to countries outside the U.S. and we want to huddle together as U.S. expats and everything like that. But in Panama here, the people are very nice, right? There's poverty everywhere you go, and wherever there's poverty, there's going to be desperation and ignorance and all of that extra stuff like that, right? But make friends with the locals. Like, I'm always friends with the taxi drivers. I'm always friends with the people at the farmers markets and stuff like that. I started getting out a little bit more, and the more you know people, the less they'll let you, allow you to get played. You know what I'm saying? If you don't know anybody, they might not stop somebody from taking advantage of you. You know what I'm saying? You might have seen that Karate Kid movie, the new Karate Kid movie, where she went in a pawn shop and tried to pawn some electronics, and the lady was she was only going to give her 400 or something like that or something. But then the Chinese dude came in there and he translated for her and said that that was his girlfriend, and then the lady ended up giving her 800 for it. So that's just a quick public example of how important it is to have connections locally. You understand? Stop just making American connections. That's cool and everything to have stuff in common with people that move there with you, but you also want to make connections with the local community as well, because like I said, you can avoid getting gringo. Now, before we get to the number 3 way to avoid getting gringo when you move to Panama, I want to ask you guys, do you remember when I first moved here? Okay, do you remember when I first moved here? One thing I noticed is that the cost of living is not as low as I thought it was going to be here, and that's cool. I ain't cheap, you know what I'm saying? For peace and freedom, that, you know what I'm saying, I'm willing to pay for that. And I'm guessing some of you guys are as well, you know. But when I first got here, I didn't expect I didn't expect it to be so crazy with the prices of the rent and the prices, you know, because a lot of you guys, you saw me doing the walkthroughs of the places for sale and everything when I first started here and everything. But you notice I stopped doing that because a lot of you guys were telling me it really wasn't any difference in the cost of living in the US. You know what I'm saying? Like, the prices here are around the same. Yeah. You know, I would still recommend moving out to a place like this because of the peace, like I said, even though the cost of living, you know what I'm saying, might be around the same, but it's beautiful, it's less dangerous, and all of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So number 3, and I hinted to this one before, guys, make sure you hit the subscribe button, but you want to start going to the local markets. Don't go into the shopping markets. Like, sometimes I go to the supermarkets and stuff. They have a supermarket here called Ray. They have one called Super 99, and they have one called Metrotazo. And sometimes they can have deals and everything, and that's all right and everything, but they understand that Americans are homesick. They understand that Americans are spoiled. So they're going to jack up the prices on anything that has sentimental value to you. You know what I'm saying? If you want peanut butter and you're looking for Jiffy, Jiffy is going to be like extremely high, probably higher than it is in the United States. If you want cereal and you're thinking about Frosted Flakes, it might be, you know, $10 a box or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if you want to avoid getting gringo when it comes to food and everything like that, make sure you are checking out the farmers markets. Make friends with actual farmers themselves. Ask your transportation people. Ask anybody you know in your, you know, if you stand in some type of apartment complex. Hola, Javier. Ask, you know, anybody that you know locally, where do you guys shop? You know what I'm saying? Because when you go in these supermarkets, most of the time it's not the locals in there. You know what I'm saying? Metatazo has some locals in there, but most of the time it's us, spoiled Americans, trying to find their favorite brands and stuff like that. So, you know, if you want to avoid being gringo, like there's communities around here that have their own little, you know, mercados, you know what I'm saying? Mini mercados, you know, mini markets and stuff. They're not going to have all the big brands that you're used to and everything. And if they do, they still going to jack up the prices at the mini marks. But, you know what I'm saying? Just get used to dealing with the locals. You know, they've been living on the land forever, you know what I'm saying? And they're healthy, they're good, you know what I'm saying? The inside the United States stores and any stores dealing with them, these chains that even come out here and everything. If you're in these supermarkets, a lot of the food, I'll say 90% of the food that you're eating is fake. Right? They have incentives because they have margins they have to consider. They have deadlines they have to consider. So they're in labs growing fake food because they can't wait for cows to mature. They can't wait for all of that stuff. They can't wait 3 to 5 years for avocados to sprout and everything like that. So they create them and it's fake and stuff. So guys, I strongly suggest you get used to dealing with the locals. The locals don't have incentive for that because they don't have any other margin except for what their take home is. They're not trying to figure out how to break even while dealing with distribution and doing all this extra stuff that the big guys do, right? Okay, so learn Spanish, make local connections, and shop outside of the markets unless you just absolutely have to. You know what I'm saying? Try to make it, you know, minimal, you know what I'm saying? Like last resort type stuff, where you go and shop in the actual supermarkets and stuff. Like ask the locals where they go and get their stuff. All right, so that is literally 3 ways that you can avoid being gringoed in Panama if you move in here or